step 2 in the process. I've brought the honey frames down to the house, and I've got the production studio set up here on the outside of the garage. So the first thing we have to do, you can see all of this cap on here, right? The first thing we have to do is cut that cap off, and we use this tool. It's a serrated two-sided knife, and you just kind of run it down, if you'll watch. You run it right down just like you're filleting a fish, basically, and it cuts that cap off, right? And you can see the honey coming off even as I'm just cutting the cap off. And, well, let's just say it's delicious. Let's finish this cap in a second, then I'm going to show you how the honey extractor works. And yeah, I made a little bit of a mess, but just remember, I'm learning how to do this. And even in the last 20 minutes, I've learned quite a bit. So there's a couple of different tools that we'll use to cut this cap off of, right? And I've got several of them in the sitting here in this box. I'll show you in a second. The knife works pretty good. And yeah, you can see the wax cap that's coming off, and I'll talk about that here in a second. I'm putting it down here. This is a series of filters that I'm putting that cap on top of and letting the honey that comes off of it run down through the filters and into the bucket down below. That's a food grade bucket down below with a spigot on the front. So if I was successful in getting honey this year, we're going to know in a minute, because I'm going to put this frame in the extractor, turn it on, I'm going to show you how that works, and then the last thing we're going to look at on the next video, we're going to see if it actually worked. Did I get any honey? What did I produce? With one super of honey my first year, let's check it out. So I'm going to keep cutting this comb off, and the honey's got a really light flavor, almost, I don't know, I want to use the word citrusy, but it's the flavor of the honey is based on what they were eating or where they were collecting the nectar. So that can be a combination of flowers, trees, fruit trees, your flowers, your vegetable garden. If you're in the city of Iron Mountain, my bees could have been visiting you anywhere. And this is about as natural as it gets, right? You can see how nicely that just came off, and that's just honey. You're probably, maybe some of your mouths are watering. I mean, look, seriously, I can just take a finger of this, and it's absolutely delicious. It's just light, perfect taste. So let's scrape off the rest of this, and I'll show you what we're going to do. We'll collect all of that wax here in a second in a different bowl, and that stuff that comes off these honey supers, that wax can be melted down, and you can do a couple of things with it. Because this is the highest quality wax the bees produce, you can produce skincare products with it, like different chapsticks, different skin ointments, things like that, right? Like, so, there's that company, Burt's Bees. If you're kind of wondering what they do and why they market themselves as a company with, bee product, well, it's some derivative of this, but you can do all of this stuff with honey and the cap and the comb that is produced by these bees. So there, we've got all of the cap removed, and I'll show you the other tools. Yeah, it's a little sticky, as you can imagine. It's honey, right? Here's one of the other tools. So it's just a roller that has pins on it, kind of plastic pins, and you kind of roll it on there. And if there's any wax or comb that you didn't get at, it kind of breaks that up. And then there's this tool too that usually comes with even a beginning beekeeper's kit that you can just kind of comb the frame with a little bit and remove as much as possible, okay? So here we go. We've got, this frame is absolutely jacked with honey. It is just sitting there in suspension. So you can kind of see how thick it is. The flavor is divine. So now, here's the tool I was talking about. I'm gonna get the camera right down in here. So this is a honey extractor, right? And you put your filled frames down in this bin. Now I've got some empty frames in here that I've already done. This thing spins. It uses centrifugal force to like pull the honey out against the side of the drum, and then it runs down into the bottom, okay? So by leaving these other boards in there, I kind of balance it out so it doesn't start to wobble and shake. But here I go, I'm gonna close it, turn it on. Now again, the frame I just put in there is really heavy. It's full of honey. So I'm gonna let it go to slower speed at first. As the honey comes out of it, it'll slow down. So I can slow the speed up and down, and that shaking and vibrating will stop. But right now that honey is flying off of that one frame, bouncing up against the wall, and then running down to the bottom. And then you can see down at the bottom of the drum, there's a spigot right down there. And so if I'm successful, when we open that spigot, you should see some honey coming out. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. It doesn't take long. You can see it's already getting a little better. Only takes a couple of minutes. And there's two sides to the frame. What I've noticed so far is that only the outside comes out. So the frames on the outside side of the frame that's towards the edge of the wall comes out. So then you got to stop and turn each board around and let it do it again. So I guess it makes kind of sense when you think about what's going on, because if it was trying to take the inside wall, it would have to push it through the frame itself to the other side. So we put that frame in there. We'll speed it up just a little bit more. You can see it's not loud. I think this extractor was like $150, right? So now I have this thing for my bee operations. We're gonna just let this keep going a little bit. Let's check that frame. Of course, we're not going to put our hands in there. That would be unsafe. So we've got all of our empty frames here, and it was one of these two. Okay, so here's the side that was to the outside. As you can see, there's nothing left in there but the wax, right? And here's the other side, all full of honey yet. So I'm going to put that in there now, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay. Turn it on. Now, because the weight of that one frame is on the outside, it's balanced so it doesn't shake. You can see I've got it at max speed right now, and it's not shaking at all. And that's just the weight of the insides. It's like a boat propeller. Like if you have one fin that's broken off, the boat shakes, rattles, anything that uses centrifugal force. So it's all centrifugal force pulling that comb out and pushing it up against the wall. It'll run down. This is all stainless steel. All of this ordered on Amazon, basically. So basically there's enough information on the World Wide Web between that and the Northwoods Beekeepers Club. I also signed up for an online class from two beekeepers that live in Maine on how to winterize your hive, because I figured they're at the same latitude, they get just as much snow, same temperatures, and they kind of taught me how to set my hives up to survive the winter, because those bees are going to survive in that hive all winter long if I do things correctly. So that's going to be another video coming down the road. I'm going to shut this thing off, and then we're going to come back. We're going to do a third video, and we're going to see, was I successful or unsuccessful in my first year of beekeeping. Peace.